Namaste. I'm Alakananda Ma, Ayurvedic doctor and principal of Alandi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style Ayurveda school in Boulder, Colorado. So, uh, today I wanted to talk about an Ayurvedic breakfast that I experienced in East Africa. In fact, it's a very traditional East African breakfast. So I got to live on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro for 2 months. It must have been about 1974, I'm guessing. I had a clinical elective that I did at Kilimanjaro Christian Medical Center. And while I was there, we started every day with a really amazing breakfast. And I think these Tanzanian breakfasts are what enabled me to survive after getting really bad amoebas living in Tanzania and not really knowing the ropes of what not to eat. These breakfasts kept me going, and there were two kinds of breakfasts, uh, ugali and uji. So ugali it can be made from sorghum or from millet, but today it's typically made from corn flour, maize, corn flour, which or cornmeal, which is very easy for you to get, like Bob's Red Mill. Cornmeal can be used to make ugali. Um, for example, that's what we're typically buying. Uh, it's just a very simple recipe, kind of like a thick polenta, uh, and pretty easy to make. And with it, they always served mali, which is a type of cultured dairy. I watched how the mali was made, and the cook had a a shallow earthenware vessel that she used, and she just poured the milk in the evening, and in the morning it was cultured, and you had this absolutely delicious, amazing mali. Might be difficult to replicate that here, where we don't always get milk straight from the cow, goat, or camel, but um, kefir, or you probably call it kefir. Kefir is a very good substitute. In fact, Sadananda and I typically do have some kind of porridge with kefir in the morning. So you could have ugali with kefir. I haven't written my own recipes for these foods, but I'll give you links in the description so that you can see how to make these very easy, delicious breakfasts. Take it a step further. Instead of ugali, we could have uji. Uji also features in the book Wild Fermentation, although if you look in the index, they spell it with an O, oji, which the author says is how they do it in West Africa. I don't know. I haven't been to West Africa, only to Tanzania, Kenya, and a little bit Sudan stopover. Uh, so um, the amazing thing about uji is that it is such a perfect Ayurvedic food because it's a fermented porridge made from finger millet. What is finger millet? Ragi! Yes, those of you that are familiar with Indian food know about the incredibly nutritious, tasty ragi flour. So that is actually what finger millet is. And if you've actually studied the Ayurvedic texts, as I have and continue to do on a daily basis, if you actually study the texts, you'll find many references to fermented porridges. So the uji, unlike the ugali, uji is thinner than ugali, and it's a fermented porridge that you could make from the cornmeal, but you can also make it from ragi flour, or you could make it from a mix of ragi flour and cornmeal, fine cornmeal, or it's going to be a little complicated to mix them. You ferment it. So you make your mix and then you let it ferment for a few days depending how sour you want it to be and when you want the fermentation process to stop, because it's just how sour you like it. Then you can put it in the fridge and still have it day by day, and that too can be had with fermented dairy, so in our case with kefir. And according to Ayurveda, having a fermented porridge warmed with a fermented dairy is the epitome of a really healthy breakfast. So it's a very traditional East African food, and yet it's very much something that you can make by getting your ingredients at the Indian grocery store, and something essentially that you would read about in the Ayurvedic texts. So enjoy. Click the links, look at the people's recipes, and try something different for breakfast. Okay, don't forget to click the like button, tell your friends about the channel, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.